So, what happened to Anthem? It's crazy because, Bioware, despite EA being EA, Bioware has been an incredible developer. They have made games that people enjoy and love to this very day. Games like, Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and of course the original Knights of the Republic. When it would come out with Star Wars Battlefront, which I was really interested in, I went to Steam and got the original Knights of the Republic. I'm so glad that I did because, man, that game was phenomenal. It was ahead of its time, great, and I would love a remake of that game, honestly. And of course, I played the other games before, Dragon Age, and of course, they're my favorite thing they've done, the Mass Effect franchise. Oh my God, the Mass Effect franchise has been fantastic. For the most part, granted, Part 3's ending wasn't the best, but overall the game was still fantastic. Even at its worst with Andromeda, it was still good, despite its bugs. Though if you hate the game, I understand, because I know it's nowhere near what it should be in comparison to the trilogy. But in my opinion, at least it's still a good game despite its flaws. Though I think people are more disappointed in it. It could have been great, which I agree. If you hate it, I understand. If you're disappointed with it, kind of like I was, I also understand it because that game had. Granted, I wasn't done by the original team. It was done by the side team. But with Anthem, that was the main original Bioware team that did the Mass Effect trilogy and the Dragon Age games and the first Knights of the Republic, because Obsidian did the second one, and they did it. They had to do it within even less than a year. So kudos to them for even managing to finish the game and Fallout New Vegas. That's the thing about Obsidian. They made good games despite being on a time crunch. I think I mentioned this before one of my videos, because it was done by a big developer, like Bioware, and I believe I forgot who did Fallout 3. I want to say Bethesda, and then Bethesda passed it on to Obsidian, or same thing. Bioware passed that Star Wars to Obsidian. Like, all right, we want to make the same epic scale game, but you got this how much dead. I know we had a lot of time, but you have to make that same game, but in half the time. And in any other people's hands, that game could have crashed, burned, and failed. Obviously, because those games require a lot of time and patience. But despite that, despite the cut in time, and the fact that even put out a good product is a miracle on its own, and it's the kudos to their skills. So it's I can only imagine how amazing those games would have been had they been given hey, take your time, take as much time as you need. Lord knows. Hell, we weren't even talking about how amazing. Though even though people liked the original Knights of the Republic over 2, a lot of people. There's some people that's fault. Though it's very, as you could say, divided. But there are those Fallout fans that consider New Vegas to be the best. To me, it's the weakest. But when I went back to play on the PC version, I did like it. I wasn't a fan of the main campaign, but I love their side quests. It's the best. I think that's what a bulk of what their resources went to, which it was fun. I remember the main story was kind of forgettable, not really epic on a scale of 3 or 4, but because of side quest wise, was fantastic. In fact, I think the side quest stuff should have been the main plot. You know what I mean? But despite that, overall, they put out some good stuff despite the limited time. So it's crazy. And the reason why I mentioned that is because Anthem was delayed to make sure this game comes out polished, but it's not. There's long load times. Long load times. Koopa even showed me how Sonic 06 loads faster than Anthem, a big budget AAA game. How is this possible? And I'm not lying. There's videos out there. Look up yourself. I'm not kidding. In fact, if I can find one, I'll probably link it in this video in the comment section below. But point being, if I can find it. But point being is how is that possible? And I know people are blaming Bioware. And yeah, Bioware is at fault too, but I know a lot of it has to do with EA. I think EA is just seeing the Destiny money, and Destiny, despite it being a mixed bag with people. It's one of those things that it's making a lot of money still, and they wanted to join that bandwagon of the live service that Jim Sterling coined. Makes fun of every chance he gets, every time he talks about it, and shout out to his channel. And they wanted to like jump on that bandwagon, but the story doesn't really pick up until the end. You don't really change. You don't get much in terms of armor looks. And if you want to like change it to what you really want, you have to pay like a lot of money just to change how your character looks in game money, which is ridiculous. And the load times are long, and it's even more of like a chore if you want like co-op with friends, which they promote like, oh, it's a cooperable experience like Destiny, but people are just like, just play on your own. You have less headache and load times. and then I'm hearing, I know it's somewhere in Europe because I know the dollar, it's not our dollar sign because the dollar symbol's different. It looks like the European dollar sign, but Anthem's already in the bargain bin. Well, like for $40 to $30 already, despite the game being out not even a month yet. That's crazy. And then to make matters worse, despite the long load times and then so up in Europe and it's up in Europe, it's somewhere in the European area, the game's already down from its regular price from $60, I think, to $40 to $30. Now I'm hearing that it can crash your PS4 like it got unplugged, and in some even worse cases, it will brick your console. I mean, that is amazing to me because I remember Battlefield 4 was a disastrous launch. I mean, disastrous, guys. I was there with day one. In fact, that's one of the first PS4 games I got. Because I've heard, because I love Battlefield 3, and then with Battlefield 4, it's like it would crash like every hour, every 1 to 2 hours, it would crash. But it will crash so hard that it will corrupt the data, and I have to start all over again. And that was on the single player campaign. And I even heard that it even did that in the multiplayer too. So if you busted your ass like doing a long like night session, just long session at night, drinking your Mountain Dew and playing with your friends to get to level 10, then all of a sudden in the middle of it, you finally get that and it crashes only for you to start all over again, it's disheartening. I mean, it's disheartening. All that work and hours of trying to get to that level wiped away just because they want to rush it to meet the holiday rush. Which I'm like, look, Anthem is not this game needed, and it has the potential. I mean, it looks fantastic. The flying stuff and the gun combat looks fun. But it looked like it needed at least another 6 months to another year of solid polish to be a solid good game. Maybe even great. Who knows? But it needed more time in the oven. EA's like, we want it now, and now it's just not doing damage control, and like I say, now the player base is going to drop off faster than it already is because it's only on PS4. Keep in mind that it can break your system. I mean, I did hear online there's people that found a workaround for those cases that it bricked the system, how to bring it back to life. So kudos to those dedicated people that figured that out. But still, do you want to risk something like that though? I have a lot of great games. I love my PS4. I have like a 4 terabyte hard drive on it. I have a lot of games on there, and I don't want to all get destroyed because a company doesn't know how to take their time with the game. They want to rush it out to get a quick profit. I mean, it's just like, come on, man. Seriously. EA, this is why your shit decisions that you're doing is why nobody likes you. I mean, you taking a great developer in Bioware and making them the laughing stock of the gaming industry. And granted, I know people want to blame Bioware. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's some of the things are their fault. I'm not saying they're clean from this, but at the same time, it's one of those things is I know in my heart of hearts, I know people blame Bioware. In my opinion, I bet you Bioware will probably telling EA, hey, we need another 6 months to get to really polish this game so that way it can come out fantastic. But I bet you EA is like, no, we want it today. And and of course, and in the day, they're just a developer. They're not like big like Bungie. They were like, well, screw you, we're gonna leave. Which seriously, these workers need to unionize, man, because I despite it not selling well, I heard that Bioware's not in trouble yet. I think because they have Dragon Age to fall back on. But if that game bombs or is there buggy or glitchy to the point it's breaking PS4 that Anthem did, I believe they're done. So even though people are worried about Anthem, which I am worried about, not Anthem, but the team Bioware, which I admit, it is worrying because, they got rid of Visceral Games, another great developing team. I think they're okay for now because of Dragon Age, because they did announce they're doing a Dragon Age. I don't know when it's coming out, but it's coming out, and I believe they're working on that pretty soon. We're going to start up doing production on that pretty soon. So they have something like that to fall back on. And the last one was fantastic, which I need to seriously play that because the little I played was fun as hell. And then I believe a lot of game of the year when that game released. So at least they have that to fall back on. And they also did announce that Mass Effect is not dead yet. They still have plans with Mass Effect despite Andromeda being what it was. But still, guys, EA, if they're going to do another Dragon Age and Mass Effect, or hell, let them do a Star Wars Knights of the Republic, or at least make them do a remastered one, please, let them take their time. Don't rush them, because when you rush shit, like what you did with Anthem, look what's happening. And now, especially now with the whole breaking systems, no one's want to touch that unless you come out and address, which they have, but it's not reassuring enough for what I've been hearing. And no one wants to buy something that's going to destroy their system, because these systems aren't cheap. They're not cheap. These things are between $300 to $400, especially the upgraded ones. The upgraded ones like the Pro and the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. So I'm not surprised that people are hesitant to not want to buy it. I don't blame them. I really don't. So, and again, I know I'm repeating this, but I know people are mad at Bioware, but and again, maybe they weren't involved in the decision to making it bad. Who knows? And if that's the case, Bioware, shame on you. You know better. But at the same time, but if it is EA, or maybe it's the opposite, maybe it's that, or maybe they're with EA working with them, but yeah, let's rush it out now. But if they were telling EA, which something tells me in my heart is the case, that hey, which I bet they told them, hey, this game needs more time to cook in the oven. But I bet you, like I mentioned before, EA's like, no, we want it now. I mean, that's the culture we're in now. Release it now, put it out now, and then patch it later, and then let that suffer. Such as the old saying is true: first impressions are everything. And remember, these games aren't cheap. These games are between 60 digitally to 64 physically. These are not cheap. These are very expensive. And especially, the economy's doing good for now, but if, the way things are running right now, that could easily, the way things are being ran right now, that could easily change. And then, people, remember, games are a want, not a need. People need food. People need medicine. People need the lights and and the electricity and then water. People don't need games. So, and if they only can afford maybe 1 or 2 games a year or a month, they're not going to buy a product that's going to brick their system that they saved up months or years to get. Just a fact of life. I know it goes without saying. I know people saying, well, no duh, but it needs to be said because apparently these companies are still doing the same stupid mistakes, especially EA. Stop it. Stop. And the thing is, you can do great things. I know you can. The Dragon Age Inquisition was fantastic. So you can make fantastic games. But stop being greedy assholes and rushing shit. Take your time. Do what Nintendo is doing. They're not rushing out Prime 4. They even said themselves they didn't like where the development is going. They're getting Retro Studios to come up with a new team that's working on Prime 4 to make sure that when it comes out, it's the quality experience that people expect from us. That's what they want to see. I think either the new CEO or the interim CEO said on one of the Nintendo Directs, or at least one of the head developers, I'm not sure. But one of the people at Nintendo were saying pretty much that we don't like where this game's going. We're going back to the drawing board so that when we demand, because these games ask a lot. These games are expensive, not cheap. So since we're asking for a lot, we want to give you excellence, and I respect that. Nintendo's like, our games are $60. Games are not cheap. So since we're asking for a lot of the price, we in turn should give you something that's worth your money. Something that, you know what, I'm glad I spent this because they put their heart and soul in this. And I respect Nintendo to do that. And EA follows suit. Because I bet you when in Prime 4, whenever that comes out, that's probably going to be a Game of the Year contender. I guarantee it. You heard this here first. Take your time. When you rush crap, you get Anthem. But when you take your time, you get great games like I mentioned before, time and time again, like Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3 is an amazing, underrated game. Go get it, guys. If you have a PS3, get it. If you have a PC, get it, because Max Payne 3 is awesome. That's an example. That game was the thing that delayed like several years, and when it came out, it was great, and I loved it. It's my favorite Max Payne game to date. So, take your time, EA. Otherwise, people will not buy your crap. You're on thin ice as it is. Change, evolve, or you will go out of business. And trust me, if you think you can't, think of this. WCW was around. I know I'm going wrestling here, but just to prove a point, was that they were considered the number one wrestling company in the world for like several weeks for a while. But then, thanks to Vince Russo and other people that don't know anything about wrestling, destroyed the company, and now they're non-existent no more. Look where they're at now. They're gone. But it was coming off a time, and people were being cautious to them to, hey, you prepare for the future. They're worrying about the now, which you guys are doing right now. Because if you think that you're invincible, you think you're untouchable, you're never gonna go out of business, all I gotta say to those people, or the people that think that their EA is gonna be fine, look what happened to WCW. And they were at the height of their popularity. I mean, they made heels popular, they had hot selling games and merchandise. They were at its peak. They were the best thing in the world right now. Now, where are they at? Gone, out of business, owned by their competitor, WWE. So if you think it can't happen, you're crazy. Sorry for the rant. I just had to get that out of the way because EA can make great games. Just need to stop rushing crap. It's just simple. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to rate, comment, subscribe. As always, Rockingtheblade signing out. Hope to see you guys again real soon. Peace out. Have a great day.